Hey you guys, how are you glowing? So it's been a while, but I wanted to upload something on this on my channel because it's been a while and I've been feeling the urge to get back on and just encourage some moms, because one thing that I've learned as you're going through a season of your life, like a transition in your life that seems pretty tough and you don't understand. I always think the best thing to do is be encouraging and staying positive and motivating others when you're going through a tough time, because it helps you keep your head above water, right? So I'm going through this time right now where am I going? Okay, I'm going through this time right now where God is doing something very I don't know, like God is just moving in my life, and it seems really, it's hard, like it's tough. And I know during all other times when I've gone through, all other times when I've gone through a time like this, I failed the test, because I truly believe that when we go through difficult seasons in our life, or what seems difficult, because usually, when we go through difficult seasons or hard seasons in our life, it's to like prune us and refine us and transform us. It's always a lesson in everything that we go through. And when I tell y'all I'm like in a totally different place from, maybe if I had experienced this last year or whatever. So this month of August is like, my theme for this month is fearless faith. And I'm just trying, like, I have put all of my hope and my trust and my strength in God. I am leaning not on my own understanding. That's Proverbs. I'm not leaning on my own understanding of things, because I failed when I've done that. So my journey has been interesting, but I'm also going through a time where I have to release a lot of things and let go of a lot of things. And my reliance on things, like I've spent years relying on other people and everybody else but God. So for this month, I'm leaning and depending on God more and more. And as a mom, it can get tough, because we just see our circumstances, like even right now, it's back to school time, and there's just a lot going on, and we could easily get caught up in our circumstances and our like what's going on around us naturally, that we will put our trust in any and everything just to survive and provide for our children. And God is telling me, like, no, I need you to just trust in me. It's time for you to stop depending on everybody else. For me, it was my parents and my husband. So, I will wait for them, not wait, but I would go to them. How are we going to do this? Or mom, dad, I need your help with this. Can I borrow this? Like, it's real life. It's truth. And God is telling me, no, it's time for you to put your trust in me, and I need you to let them go. Like, I need you to let them go and see me. So how do you remain confident, especially as a mom, in difficult seasons or hard seasons? So the first thing is, you have to have a relationship with God. You have, like, faith. I've been studying it because I realized that the faith that I say that I have, I never had. And faith requires us to sacrifice a lot of things. So I had to let go of things. Like, I'm just cleansing. I started with, really studying scriptures on faith, and also praying, and also becoming aware of some things in my life that I just really need to let go of. And so for instance, I cleaned out like my closet. Like, I just felt this need to let go, throw away some things. So I went through like 4 boxes of just papers and notes and stuff that I have and that I've been holding on for like 10 plus years, journals and stuff. And I went through it and threw it all away because I'm like, this is the past. Like, I don't need to be holding on to this stuff. And I'm like, I need to release. And that's a part of faith. Like, you have to sacrifice, because when you have your faith and your trust in somebody or something, you won't let go of things and you won't feel confident in letting go of things. So all of those notes, I felt that they were near and dear to my heart. And then I was like, no, I need to just let all of this stuff go. It's time for me to just throw stuff away, let go of the past. And as I was doing this, like, I was going through some journals that I had, and I was like, oh my God, I was so depressed and and I was like, I don't want to recall that part of my life because it puts me back in a place where I don't want to be. So I'm like, let me let all of this go, because I'm desiring to live a new life. And my main goal as a mom is to pass on like a legacy of faith. That's the most important thing for me. So that's a really important thing for me, is to pass on faith. But in order for me to be able to pass on faith, I have to be able to live in a life of faith and allow God to move and do some things in my life. So I threw away stuff. And then like the second thing is that, we didn't have a vehicle. So because my trust and my faith was always in my parents, my dad would always step up for me. I didn't really have to ask. If he saw us in a situation, he would always just step up. So I was driving my parents' vehicle, and I had to give it back. And I'm like, okay, God, I don't have a car right now, but I'm trusting and depending on you, and I'm finna let this go in faith because it doesn't belong to me. And this is me making room for you, God, to provide for me. So I let it go because I'm like, I just, it's that release and cutting ties and just starting a new phase in my life. And right now we're in the month of August, which is 8, and the number 8 is new beginnings. And I'm like, Lord, as I embark on this journey of faith, of really leaning and trusting and depending on you, I'm trusting that you'll provide a way for me to get around. So even right now as I'm driving, I have people that I could call and say, hey, can I borrow your car? And they trust me. But I know that God is gonna provide for me to have a car for my own, because now I've let go of relying on my parents' transportation and moved on. So that was the second thing. And then also, I pray, and I also affirm scriptures, but I'm also affirming myself, because when you're living a life of fearless faith, you're trusting in who God created you to be as well. Because sometimes the world we live in today, especially as a mom, there's so much comparison and stuff like that. So we find our identity, like we let other things define our identity. And that's not a life of faith, because when you're living by faith, you are trusting that the person that God created you to be is who you really are and who you'll be with confidence. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, that you have to have confidence while you're living, because if you don't, like, what are you doing? That means, when you don't have confidence and believe in yourself and who God created you to be, how could you have faith in what you're trying to do with your life, right? So I'm going to post all these scriptures, but y'all. So number 1, you have to have a relationship with God. Number 2, you have to be in prayer, like all the time, not just in the morning. Lord, I thank you. Like all throughout the day, I be praying. And I'm also like, I'm always praising God, and worshiping him and singing, because, I find myself where I just feel like, Lord, I thank you, because my life could be worse. I could be homeless. I may have a point where like I have no money, but I'm still not broke, because my goal is to, as I live this life of fearless faith, is to like for my soul to prosper and for my mind to be strong and like my thoughts to be strong And I'm always praising, because I'm like, Lord, I'm in my right mind. I thank you, God. I'm in my right mind for my children, God. You have brought me out of places that I never thought that I could get out of. And now, Lord, I thank you, that I thank you for confidence, and I thank you for wisdom, and I thank you for just speaking and healing and delivering me, because it's important for me to be whole. It's important for me to prosper for my children. Then I can teach them how to do things like this when they're going through difficult times, because even though I know I'm going to be wealthy and I'm going to be able to provide and set a financial foundation for my children, what is it worth if they don't know how to be strong mentally? Because at the end of the day, our minds have to be right. I could pass on wealth, but if my children don't have the right mindset, how will they keep it and manage it? My goal is for my kids to pass on legacy and wealth, and how can they manage it if their minds are not right? If they don't know how to live in faith, if they don't know how to depend on God and not on their own understanding, and that's where they'll fail. So I have to be in constant prayer. I have to trust who God created me to be. I have to trust the purpose that He gave me. I have to trust that, my children He gave me, that He will provide for me to continue to raise them. So that's just how you remain confident in being a mom and going through difficult times. Like, know that God will provide if you keep your mind right, if you remain in prayer, if you have faith. The main thing is having faith and trusting and seeing the future always. Don't dwell on the past. Don't look at your circumstances and what's going on around you right now, because if you do, you won't progress, pretty much. So that is all. I'll tag some scriptures in the description, y'all. I'm at my location, but I just wanted to share that really quick and be some encouragement. If you're a mom going through a tough time right now, just stay encouraged. Remember to glow. Remember to affirm yourself. Remember to do what makes you happy, because you can't pour from an empty cup.